Our top focus continues to be the Kerala blast case. A tragedy struck Kerala after a series of blasts took place in a hall in a convention center in Kochi. 3 people have been killed, including a 12-year-old child who succumbed to her burn wounds today. Dozens have been injured. Nearly thousands of members of Jehovah's Witnesses were present at the convention center. Claiming responsibility of the Kerala blast, a man named Dominic Martin has surrendered himself after posting on social media his confession. Dominic not only spoke to the police describing how he carried out the blasts, but he also, like I said, went live on Facebook describing his intent behind the blasts and how he was in fact planning on surrendering always. Now, what we know of this man is, of course, a matter of ongoing investigation. We know that he is an expert in electric circuit making. He was working in Dubai for several years. It's only been 2 months since he returned to India. We quickly listen in to this video and then we take the conversation forward.
Hello, എൻ്റെ പേര് മാർട്ടിൻ. ഇപ്പോൾ നടന്നൊരു സംഭവ വികാസം നിങ്ങളെല്ലാവരും അറിഞ്ഞു കാണുമെന്ന് ഞാൻ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. യഹോവയുടെ സാക്ഷികൾ നടത്തിയിരുന്ന ഒരു കൺവെൻഷനിൽ ബോംബ് സ്ഫോടനം ഉണ്ടാവുകയും ഗുരുതരമായ പ്രത്യാഘാതങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാവുകയും ചെയ്തു. എന്ത് സംഭവിച്ചുവെന്ന് കൃത്യമായിട്ട് എനിക്ക് അറിയില്ല. എന്നിരുന്നാലും സംഭവിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്നതിൽ ഉറപ്പുണ്ട്. അതിൻ്റെ പൂർണ്ണ ഉത്തരവാദിത്വം ഞാൻ ഏറ്റെടുക്കുകയാണ്. ഞാനാണ് ആ ബോംബ് സ്ഫോടനം അവിടെ നടത്തിയത്. എന്തിനാണ് ഞാൻ ഈ കൃത്യം ചെയ്തത് എന്ന് നിങ്ങളെ ബോധ്യപ്പെടുത്തുവാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണ് ഞാൻ ഈ വീഡിയോ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. 16 വർഷത്തോളം ഞാൻ ഈ പ്രസ്ഥാനത്തിന്റെ കൂടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന വ്യക്തിയാണ്. അന്നൊന്നും ഞാൻ ഒട്ടും തന്നെ സീരിയസ് ആയിട്ട് എടുത്തിരുന്നില്ല കാര്യങ്ങൾ. ഒരു തമാശ രൂപം മാത്രമേ മുന്നോട്ട് പോയിരുന്നു. എന്നാൽ ഒരു 6 വർഷത്തിന് മുമ്പ് വരെ ഞാൻ ചിന്തിച്ചപ്പോൾ ഇത് വളരെ തെറ്റായ ഒരു പ്രസ്ഥാനമാണെന്നും ഇതിലെ പഠിപ്പിക്കലുകൾ വളരെ രാജ്യദ്രോഹപരമാണെന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ കഴിയുകയും ഞാനത് തിരുത്തണം എന്നവരോട് പലവട്ടി ആവശ്യപ്പെടുകയും ചെയ്തു. എന്നിരുന്നാൽ ഇവരാരും അത് ചെയ്യാൻ തയ്യാറാകുന്നില്ല. വളരെയധികം പ്രാവശ്യം ഇതേക്കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി അല്ലേ. ഒരു രാജ്യത്ത് ജീവിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ആ രാജ്യത്തെ ജനങ്ങളെ മുഴുവൻ വളരെ മോശമായ ഭാഷയിൽ വേശ്യ സമൂഹമെന്നും നശിച്ചു പോകുന്ന ജാതികളെന്നും ഇവരുടെ കൂടെ കൂടരുതെന്നും ഇവരുടെ കൂടെ ഭക്ഷണം കഴിക്കരുതെന്നും അല്ലെ എങ്ങനെ പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്ന ഒരു പ്രസ്ഥാനമാണിതെന്നും ഇത് വളരെ തെറ്റായ ഒരു ആശയമാണ് നൽകുന്നതെന്നും എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞു. 4 വയസ്സുള്ള കുട്ടിയുടെ അടുത്ത് അവർ പറഞ്ഞു വിടുകയാണ്, സ്കൂൾ നഴ്സറി കുട്ടിയുടെ അടുത്ത്, സഹപാഠി തരുന്നൊരു മിഠായി നീ കഴിക്കരുത് അല്ലെ. 50 കുട്ടികളുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ 49 പേര് മിഠായി കഴിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഈ ഒരു കുട്ടിയുടെ അവസ്ഥ ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കും. മാതാപിതാക്കൾ ഇത്ര 4 വയസ്സ് മുതൽ അതിന്റെ ബ്രെയിനിലോട്ട് ഇത്രമാത്രം പോയിസൺ ഇൻജക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ആ കുട്ടിയുടെ പറയുന്നത് ദേശീയ ഗാനം പാടരുത്. ഒന്ന് ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കൂ. ഇത്ര ചെറുപ്പത്തിലെ എത്രമാത്രം വിഷമാണ് ഈ കുട്ടികളുടെ മനസ്സിലോട്ട് വരെ ഇവർ പങ്കുവെക്കുന്നത്. മുതിരുമ്പോൾ പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നവർ വോട്ട് ചെയ്യരുത്, അതെല്ലാം മോശം ആളുകളാണ്, അവരുടെ കൂട്ടത്തിൽ കൂടാൻ പാടില്ല, മിലിറ്ററി സേവനം ചെയ്യരുത്, ഗവൺമെന്റ് സർവീസ് ജോലി ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല, സപ്പോസ് ടീച്ചറാകാൻ പോലും അവർക്ക് അനുവദിക്കുന്നില്ല. ഇതെല്ലാം നശിച്ചു പോകുന്ന ജനവാദത്തിൽപ്പെട്ട ആൾക്കാരുടെ ജോലിയാണ്. നമുക്കൊരു വിശ്വാസം കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല. നമ്മൾ ഭൂമിയിൽ ജീവിക്കുന്നു, മരിക്കുന്നു, സ്വർഗ്ഗത്തിൽ നടത്തി കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല. പക്ഷെ ഇവർ പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നത് ഭൂമിയിലെ എല്ലാവരും നശിച്ചു പോകും, ഇവർ മാത്രം ജീവിക്കും. 850 കോടി ജനങ്ങളുടെ നാശം ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്ന ഒരു വിഭാഗത്തെ നാം എന്താ ചെയ്യുക? എനിക്കൊരു പോംവഴിയും കണ്ടെത്താൻ കഴിഞ്ഞില്ല. ഈ തെറ്റായ ആശയത്തെ പ്രതികരിച്ച് എനിക്ക് പറ്റൂ. എനിക്ക് വ്യക്തമായി അറിയാവുന്നതാകുന്നതുകൊണ്ടും ഈ പ്രസ്ഥാനം രാജ്യത്തിന് അപകടകരമാണെന്നും ഞാൻ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയ നിമിത്തമാണ് എനിക്കിത് ഇങ്ങനെ തീരുമാനിക്കേണ്ടി വന്നത്. രാഷ്ട്രീയ പാർട്ടികളൊന്നും ഇടപെടില്ല. കാരണം മതം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരു പേടിയാണ്. നിങ്ങളൊന്ന് കണ്ണു തുറക്കണം. ഇതുപോലത്തെ തെറ്റായ ആശയങ്ങൾ പരത്തുന്നവരെ നിങ്ങൾ നിയന്ത്രിക്കുന്നില്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്നെപ്പോലെയുള്ള സാധാരണക്കാരനെ ജീവൻ നൽകേണ്ടി വരുന്നത്. ഇനിയെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ണു തുറക്കൂ. ഇത്രമാത്രം മോശം, തന്റെ സഹോദരനല്ലേ അടുത്ത് നിൽക്കുന്നത്, അമ്മയും പെങ്ങളുമല്ലേ, അവർ വേശ്യ സമൂഹം എന്ന് നാമകരണം ചെയ്യാമോ? എത്രമാത്രം അധപതിച്ച ചിന്താഗതിയാണത്. അത് പഠിപ്പിച്ചു കൊടുക്കുന്നു ആളുകളെ. എല്ലാവരും നശിച്ചു പോകും. 850 കോടി ജനങ്ങൾ നശിച്ചു പോകും, നമ്മൾ മാത്രം ജീവിക്കും. ഈ ആശയം എങ്ങനെ നമുക്കിവിടെ വളർത്തിക്കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ കഴിയും? ഒരാളെങ്കിലും പ്രതികരിച്ചില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇവരുടെ ആശയം ശരിയാണെന്ന് അവർക്ക് തോന്നും. തെറ്റാണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ ആശയം. യഹോവയുടെ സാക്ഷികളെ, നിങ്ങളുടെ ആശയം തെറ്റാണ്. നിങ്ങൾ ചില മാസിക അച്ചടിച്ചിറക്കും, മറ്റുള്ളവരെ സഹായിക്കണം, ബഹുമാനിക്കണം. നിങ്ങൾ കള്ളമാണ് പറയുന്നത്. നിങ്ങൾ ഒരിക്കലും മറ്റുള്ളവരെ സഹായിക്കുകയോ അവരെ ബഹുമാനിക്കുകയോ ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. ചില ലേഖകളിൽ കാണാൻ സാധിക്കും മറ്റുള്ളവരെ റെസ്പെക്ട്
ചെയ്യാൻ. Behind the Kerala blast, this is Dominic Martin's a clip from his Facebook Live. I have with me Ellen Rao, with us on the broadcast, Savvy Rodriguez, and we also have with us Kevin Matthew. I'll come to the guest in just a moment, and I'll just give a gist of what he said and what has been stated in the reports of what he said. My name is Martin. A bomb blast occurred at a convention organized by Jehovah's Witness group, resulting in significant destruction. I take full responsibility for the event. I'm conducting this Facebook Live to explain why I committed this act. 6 years ago, I realized that this organization was wrong and its teachings were highly anti-national. I brought this to their attention and urged them to mend their ways. However, they have not been willing to do so yet. I oppose what they teach. I say this with complete conviction that this organization is not required in this society. I will immediately surrender myself to the police station. There is no need for any further investigation. I would also like to add one more thing. The details of how I planned the bomb blast should not be broadcasted on news channels or social media. This information could be dangerous in the hands of a layman and may have significant repercussions. I conclude by stating this. Let me bring in Mr. Ellen Rao. Mr. Rao, what do you make, sir, of this confession video that has been put up by this man, Dominic Martin? He has fessed up to being the key conspirator behind the Kerala blast, but it's rather odd, and of course there's a lot of psychology involved here as well, because here's a man who's making a confession, but he's also requesting that don't put out information on how I made the bomb on news channels or social medias, because this could be dangerous in the hands of a layman. What are your first thoughts when you hear what has been said in this video of this man's mental state?
Yeah, Devka ji, this man's confession, first of all, I must say, as per law, if he has made this confession before the police, that is not admissible at all. But definitely it can help in investigation of this case. And all these facts which he has narrated, those are subject to verification, each and everything verification. And he's saying that that how I made the bomb and that details should not be circulated in social media. That is not done, because that is to be done by the police, and police never, the investigating agency never put all these details on any social media or on TV channels. They don't give it to all. So it seems that this man who has, I think, surrendered, and then he has given his confession on social media also. That is looking some is bizarre, some is unnatural. You can say that in none of the cases that such type of accused persons never disclose their statement on social media, and that cannot be it cannot be treated as true also, because
Yes.
that investigation agency has to find out what is the reality of what he is saying. That is to be seen by the investigation, and then the evidence which are available and thorough interrogation of this person will reveal that whatever he is saying, that is whether it's correct or not. On the face of it, we cannot rely upon what he is saying.
Okay, but Mr. Rao, at the same time, just trying to understand from your experience, as far as the initial statements are concerned, now this man also has confessed that I learned how to make a bomb online. He's not spoken about any other organization or any other, online methods through which he was possibly radicalized. He's not disclosed any of that, but he says that I've learned how to make a bomb online. Given the information that we have right now, does this to you seem like a lone wolf attack, or does this look like a larger conspiracy orchestrated by a number of people, and that this man could possibly simply just be the scapegoat?
Yes, ma'am. Let me tell you very clearly that saying all these things without any proof, that will not have any purpose. But definitely, if that something is proved as per law, that is called his confession is considering that something new is recovered, some articles are recovered, whatever he's saying that, then we have to see from where he brought all these components of the ID. There are 5 components of the making any improvised explosive device, which we tell us in a sport form, we will use IED. So these all 5 components are very necessary to make any bomb. So from where he procured, then evidence has to be seen. All CCTV cameras. No doubt he may be expert in making circuit connections because he has worked in Dubai or anywhere else. But he may be an expert. But how he main thing is that what is the motive of planting this bomb? That has to be told by him to the investigating officer. No crime can be committed without any motive or without any purpose. Definitely,
Yes.
there is some purpose.
But
He
Mr.
has
Rao,
to say something
in
more.
his confession, he has said that the purpose was simply to send out a message that he just did not believe in Jehovah's Witnesses and what they preach out there to the people. He said that they don't allow people to sing the national anthem, that it's a very tight-knit community, and he finds their preachings to be seditious. That's what he said, as far
Yes,
as
ma'am.
motive is concerned.
That purpose is not looking like a trustworthy purpose or trustworthy statement. That is to be looked into in the totality, whether what he is saying that is true or not. Because such a bomb blast, killing so many people and injuring so many people in a convention center, it cannot be of that purpose or for that purpose of which he is saying. I don't think that purpose will be but he may be part of any larger conspiracy, and he will have to tell the truth. He also will have to tell the organization behind all these bomb blast cases yesterday and today. Then it means he needs thorough interrogation by the investigating agency, and then something concrete and truth will come out after that.
Right, absolutely. I'll come to you in just a moment, sir. Let me bring in Kevin Matthew as well. Kevin Matthew, what do you make of at least the initial investigation that has come out in this entire matter? As far as this particular man is concerned, does it reek of a lone wolf attack? Because we have seen those in the past as well, and we've seen recently several that take place in, for example, America, where you have gunmen who open fire on people.
Devika, I would, it is of my opinion that let us not pass judgment today. The investigating agencies of the state, of the central university, all of them are investigating, and we are very eminent, very efficient people in those teams. So let us not make judgments today, especially like what our honorable cabinet minister from the state tried to do the first thing when this news came out. So let us not make such judgments. This could be a lone wolf. This could be a conspiracy. There could be n number of people behind it. There could be organization behind it, or this could be a lone wolf. So let us, without the facts, let us not make judgment today. Let us not, because the problem with judgments is that they divide people. Let us all come together because it's a time of tragedy, and it is a time when all of us have been hit. As a state, as a country, as a people, as a community, we are hurt today. And on that note, let the agencies, let the state do their job. Let us not pass judgment. Let us not be the wolves among lambs here. Let us come together. Let us move forward. And that is what I would really say there. Because we've already seen the damage that is done. Because the moment this news came out, it is so sickening that a cabinet minister himself, and he's from the state, came out with such a statement. And what happened was that an army of trolls on social media took that up, trying to alienate a community. So the problem, they say actions are consequences. And this is a consequence we'll have to face, because it is today we are at this stage because the biggest point here is even with his statement, with the accused statement comes in, it reeks of a perverse nationality, which, you know what, that kind of divisiveness, the othering, the division of people, that is what
Okay.
will bring this country down. And today, my humble submission is that till we have facts, let us not be judgmental, let us not be divisive, let us come together at this time of
But
strife.
Mr. Matthew, with all due respect, sir, yes, I agree, let's not be divisive. What have I said that is divisive?
No, you haven't said anything divisive, but let us not try and pass judgment. We have very efficient agencies probing the case, and let them do their probe. Let them come back with the facts before we do this.
Okay, all right.
And till then, let us all come together with the victims, because those are the ones who need us.
Absolutely, we are with the victims, sir. Absolutely, you're right. And the country, of course, stands behind the victims. It stands behind the state of Kerala. Savio, unfortunately, there is now a feeling that if we discuss the case, that somewhere people are speaking against Kerala. How do we address that issue?
Devika, there are three facts in this case and in what is going on in Kerala in general. The first fact of this case was that there was a bomb blast. The second fact of this case is that a gentleman from the Christian community, Dominic Martin, has claimed that he is responsible for the bomb blast. And the third fact of this case is that investigative agencies are still investigating what he has said and what may or may not be the truth, right? The fourth important part is that is Kerala facing Islamic radicalism? The answer is yes, but that's not the topic of the discussion today. The topic of the discussion today is Dominic Martin. Dominic Martin, whether he's a lawyer...
Sir, let me stop you right there. Devika, this is exactly what I'm talking about. There's absolutely no reference. And this,
No,
sir, you
sorry,
won't
there
bring
is no need for
Islamophobia
you,
into
Kevin.
it.
Hold your horses. I
Sir,
didn't
I
interrupt when
belong to
you
a
speak.
state.
One
I
second.
belong to a state.
No, you please, Devika.
One second, Mr. Kevin
I
Matthew.
did not interrupt him.
What happened right now, Mr. Kevin Matthew? What happened? Why won't you let him make his point? What is he saying? He's saying that Kerala is possibly facing the threat.
Are you saying there's no Islamic radicalism in Kerala?
Sir, there is Islamic radicalization.
Then what else
but
did I
what
say?
you're doing today, sir, what you're
What
doing
did
today,
I say? Are you daft?
what you're doing today,
Are you
what
daft?
you're doing today,
You're accepting
no,
what I'm saying. You're
No,
accepting
what
what I'm
you're doing
saying.
today,
I'm saying
sir,
Islamic
what-
radicalism exists in Kerala. You're saying yes.
Sir,
Are you a
Islamic
little rude in your
radicalization, sir, Islamic radicalization, Hindu radicalization, Christian radicalization,
Islamic
everything exists in
radicalism
this
is
world.
there in Kerala or
The
no?
world
Yes
is not
or no?
devoid of evil. Everything exists here.
Is
But what
Islamic
you are doing
radicalism
today,
there in Kerala
But
or
Mr.
not?
Kevin
Not
Matthew,
yet.
all Savio Rodriguez said was that as per him, there are 4 facts before him. He feels
which
that
are all
those
the
are the
facts?
4 facts of Kerala, of which he feels the threat of Islamic radicalization is one of them, but that is not the topic today. Today the topic is Dominic Martin.
Exactly my point. And ma'am, but when you're trying to,
I think it's a
there's
little-
something called association.
Kevin,
There is something
what are
called
you smoking? You tell the people that. Because
One
you
second.
agree with
Savio.
me and then
Okay,
you're
all
acting
right.
off like a child.
Devika.
What are you smoking?
If this gentleman,
Are
if
you
this
sharing what
gentleman,
Rahul Gandhi shares?
Mr. Kevin Matthew, you were allowed to make your point. Nobody interrupted you. You say that we should all come together. We should not be talking about this case at all. And I agreed with you. And I let you
So,
make
Devika,
that point.
Devika,
But the
Devika,
moment
Devika,
another panelist makes a point that may hurt you, you may acknowledge
It's not
that
hurting
later,
me.
but
It
you
does
are,
not
I'm
hurt
sorry,
me.
no,
It does
you're
not-
not allowed to scream and shout and say that he's making some, that's his wish, right? In the state of
Devika.
Kerala, PFI rallies and pro-Palestine / Hamas
Correct.
rallies are allowed under the garb of what? Freedom of expression and speech. So
Correct.
let Savio Rodriguez also have his freedom of expression and speech. Just as
So
you
the-
were
yes.
allowed 2 minutes ago.
ma'am, there's
Devika.
something called responsibility. Yeah, please have your point, sir. But there's something called responsibility.
Yeah, you're
being
going to
on the
teach
So
me
now,
responsibility.
now I'm irresponsible. First I was divisive, now I'm irresponsible. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Kevin Matthews?
Please don't put words in my mouth. I didn't
That's
say
exactly what
you
you're
are
saying.
divisive. I didn't say you are divisive. And
Mr.
I
Matthew,
said
the way the way I would like to proceed is you let Savio Rodriguez at least make
Yes,
his
please.
point. You let me
Please.
make the judgment call whether what he is saying is divisive, and I will allow you the time to respond to him rather than jumping to conclusions about what he has to say before he's even said it.
All right, I'm all yours.
Savio, please go ahead.
Like I said, Devika, the topic of this discussion is not the growing Islamic radicalism in Kerala. It is, in fact, the topic of Dominic Martin. Now, why does Dominic Martin become an important subject of discussion? For two reasons. One, he comes from the same community that he has a problem with. He has lived in Dubai, and this gentleman finally is able to actually build a bomb which he places inside a convention center. Now that is dangerous, Devika, because if a common man today with limited knowledge, and that's what he's acknowledging as well, Dominic Martin, that we should not make public the way in which he made the bomb. So obviously, when you have radicalists from any religion, which is where I agree with Kevin, you are going to have people being able to make bombs and putting it in convention centers inside a tiffin box, causing damage and destruction and mayhem in the name of their beliefs or their non-beliefs. That is the topic of discussion today, that as a country, we need to be alert with what is happening. And therefore, the investigations are very important to find out how he went about getting the knowledge of making a bomb. And is it possible for every common man to sit at home on the terrace and make that bomb?
Precisely, and thank you for raising that point, Savio. For all the people who are wondering that, are wondering that this is perhaps another attempt at a media trial, it's not. It's an educative exercise for the people to understand that today radicalization does not happen physically on the ground in camps. Dominic Martin and other people are not taken from their homes and taken to Pakistan where they're radicalized, or any other country where they're radicalized. People are radicalized in their homes via the internet. And therefore, there is a need to have clear policies going ahead on the sort of material that is being allowed to be disseminated via the internet. Now, Dominic Martin says that I am a regular guy who's learned how to make an IED on YouTube.
Precisely.
Is that dangerous or not?
That's the issue of the discussion. How does a common man make a bomb? Dominic Martin's not trained in a camp. He's not trained in a terrorist group. But he is a common person who had a friction with his own community and decides to make a bomb. And he puts it in the community where there are 2,000 people. So obviously he's done it to attempt at some disastrous intent. Why would somebody do that? Why would a common man get to such an extent to be able to plant a bomb where 2,000 people are there? Was he not expecting people to die? So much was his hate for his own community that he was willing to put a bomb. That is how his radicalization was.
Absolutely. And now, was he a person, as per reports again, initial reports, Ellen Rao, let me bring you back into the conversation. As per initial reports, he was apparently a part of the Jehovah's Witness community for many years himself, as per reports. He's had a problem, as Savio pointed out, also has had a problem for many years for what was being preached. And today that level of friction reached a point where this man, who's some sort of an expert in electric circuit making, has managed to make a bomb, God knows where, probably in his home premises where he lives with a wife and a child, and actually planted it at a convention center. Are we to believe that this radicalization was self-inflicted, Or do we also then need to look very closely and carefully in the sort of radicalization that's taking place in online spaces today? And that's unfortunately a conversation that we don't have too often. Yes, several YouTube channels and other social media pages are banned quite regularly, but there is just, it's impossible to control the way information circulates online. In this reality that we live in today, what do we do to ensure that tomorrow there are no more Dominic Martins who can simply Google and YouTube how to make a bomb?
Yes, Devkaji, if Dominic Martin is saying whatever he's saying it is correct, then it will be very dangerous for others also, because keeping both all these emotional feelings of a community, anybody else can also react on that issue. But at the same time, which I told you earlier also, that it's not so easy to make a bomb in his house. And the radicalization, personal level radicalization is not possible at all. Radicalization is done on the large basis, on the religion basis, like this it is being done in Kerala and other states, that the people are being tutored and they are being thrust upon the ideology of some other terrorist organizations. That is the radicalization. That personal level, you can say there's in-house radicalization and in-house making bomb. That is not possible, because for the bomb we have to need this type of bomb, that IED, which I explained to you, improvised explosive device, that needs 5 components. That is explosive, that is a battery, that is a connection, wire connection, and then some splinters into that, and some container also. All these 5, no doubt these can be made, and if you go for searching in the internet, you can find out how to make a bomb. Then you can also have so many other things. But searching for all these things from outside his house, that is most important, that he has to collect all these things. But I don't think that it was his own homemade IED, and it was his own radicalization itself. That I don't think so, but still I am also agreeing with that let the investigation be completed, and then whole facts will come out with the detailed report of the investigating officers.
All right, I leave the last word with Kevin Matthew. Kevin Matthew, would you now at least agree that there is some merit towards having this conversation and putting out some of the information that has come in on who this man was and how he was operating?
Devika, I agree with you there, and I would really want those things to come out, but that has to come out as facts from the investigative agencies. That's only my statement. Until then, let us not judge, let us not call names, let us not point fingers.
But who are we pointing fingers at?
You're talking about when you make statements. See, my initial reaction with Savio is also because he called out a community, and the moment that happens, we are nourishing this radicalization, we are nourishing this divisiveness, and there exactly lies my problem. Because see,
I did not call out a community, Kevin. I did not call out a community. Please distinguish between the community. There are Muslims and then there are Islamic radicals. That's the distinction. Now, unfortunately, you can't make it.
Sir, let me ask you a question.
The church in Kerala, why did they raise their voice against Islamic radicalism? Did they not do it, Kevin?
Sir, I have a problem. Sir, when you talk about radicalization, I am in agreement with you.
Voice against Islamic radicalism. The church today has made a statement as far as Hamas is concerned. The church in Kerala. So what are you talking about? Stop putting the Islamic radicalism. There's a huge difference. A Muslim is a Muslim. An Islamic radical is an Islamic radical. That's the difference. Islamic radicalism leads to Islamic terrorism. That is what you've been seeing around the world. A Muslim is not an Islamic radical.
Okay.
Sir,
the difference is in Wahabism. The difference is in Wahabism. If you don't have the knowledge, don't open your mouth. Okay. You don't have the knowledge. You don't study religion. Neither do you study conflict. You come on TV trying to be somebody who wants to sound secular, but you know absolutely nothing. Nothing. It is people like you, Kevin, who don't know the difference between a Muslim and an Islamic radical.
Okay.
You don't know the difference between Palestine and Hamas. Hamas is a terror organization. Palestine is not.
Okay. All right. Savio, you made
Sir,
your point. Kevin, Matthew, I leave the last word with you. I need to wrap up as well.
Yeah, Devika, as long as we are calling it radicalization, I am absolutely with Mr. Savio and I'm absolutely with you. But when you talk about Muslim radicalization, the problem here is
No, I'm talking about Islamic radicalization.
Yeah, when you
Again,
talk about
not
Islamic
Muslim
radicalization and when you don't
Muslims
talk
are
about
not
the other
radical.
forms of radicalization, when you talk about one and you talk about the when you don't talk about the other, therein exactly lies the problem.
Really?
I'm just going.
Which Christian radicals have you seen blowing up people? Which
So you want
Christian
examples?
radicals have you seen blowing up people? You're a Christian
Sir,
yourself.
I am a Christian
Which
myself, sir.
Christian terrorists have you
I am a
seen?
Christian myself, sir, and there are
Which
Christians.
Christian terrorists other than Dominic
Let
Martin
me tell
today?
you.
Okay.
Let
All
me tell
right.
you.
Christian terrorists
Let
in
me
Goa
tell you,
have
there are
seen
Christian
other than
radicals.
Dominic
There are
Martin?
Okay, okay, all right. I've run out of time. Okay, I've run out of time. Okay, Savio, you've made your point. You've made your point. Last 20 seconds to Kevin Matthew. Kevin Matthew, the point really was never about Islamic radicalization today. As I mentioned earlier, that is for Savio Rodriguez to have his point of view, that he feels that is one of the problems of Kerala, the state where this incident has occurred. Let's not make it about that. Let's not make it about Islamic radicalism.
Let us not make it about that.
If there is a
What
point
has
other
happened-
than that you want to make, the floor is yours for 20 seconds, please.
Devika, so the only point I want to make here is that what has happened is an absolute tragedy and it shouldn't have happened. And like even Mr. Savio said and Mr. Rao said, if we can bring about change, if there was one step unturned in preventing this, that shouldn't have happened. Let us all work together to that. And let us prevail together as a country, as a community, as a society, as a people.
Yes, absolutely. We've always prevailed as a country and we will continue to prevail as a country. There's no doubt about that at all. But hopefully there will be a realization that it is important to have these conversations. They are an important part of ensuring that there are no other Dominic Martins in the future.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.